Hey y'all. I'm working on some journals today. One is a custom, and while I was in the process of doing this, I thought maybe I'd just pop on here and do kind of a down and dirty video on my process, just real quick. And then if there's anything that you want to see in detail, you guys can leave me comments and let me know. But so I have limited storage space, so I don't have a big table that I can spread out on. And, I use my desk in my bedroom, and then there's a corner in my bedroom that's just full of stuff. Stuff's in my closet, and then I have stuff out in my dining room. So to show you kind of how I work, one day I'd love to have a big space and have a big table where I could spread out. But if you want to do multiple journals, and now I usually work in threes. Threes seem to work the best for me. I don't know why. I can't really explain that, but they do. So what I'll do is I will gather supplies. And I'm going to see if I'm in frame because I've changed my angle. So I have gone through and, just pulled a bunch of papers that I thought that I wanted to use to make this journal. Now, I haven't started this one yet, but this is a collage journal that I created. So this will be the front, and this will be the back, and then these will be the insides. Now, I haven't decided yet whether this is going to be ring bound because of the space here. I just really like this, and I may add some fabric here. This will probably end up being a ring bound journal, just because of the way the cover came out. And this was a collage one that I did when I was working on a custom collage cover for a customer. Ooh, say that real fast 3 times. But anyway, so what I do is I'll go through my scrapbook paper, and then I'll go through my other papers, and I buy these large Ziploc bags at Target. You can probably get them at Walmart or somewhere like that cheaper, but Target's really close to me, so that's what I do. I'll buy these Ziploc bags, and I kind of make a kit, okay, so to speak. So that's how I start. And then I try to keep sort of like things alike. So this is one that I started putting together a while back. I never have made these journals, but one day. And then I have a lot of baby stuff on this side of this pack that I'm going to use, because I'm getting ready to work on my a journal for my future daughter-in-law that's having my other grandbaby. And then so I pull all those papers together, and then I'll go through and I fold everything. Okay, I fold everything up and cut everything down. Well, I'll prepare my covers first. So like when I was working between Friday night and yesterday, I did my covers first, okay? So I'm working on these 3 covers. And then I go through my papers and I fold everything and I cut everything down, okay? And then I put it into signatures. So I decide how many signatures I want. Typically I do 4 signatures. I'll fold everything up. I will go ahead, if I need to reinforce any pages, I'll washi tape the pages, and then kind of put them in order where I want them, and then I'll take them to my sewing machine. So this one I just started sewing on. And this particular book, just to give you an idea, this one was really, really old, okay? The cover, however, was in really good shape. The color and everything on this cover was gorgeous, and I wanted to make a journal out of it. I just love it. I love these little girls here. But this was like an early 1900s book that I found at my favorite store probably a year ago. I've had it in my stash for a while. The back cover was horrible. It was pretty much just a chipboard left. So I covered it with a piece of yellow cardstock. I used the feed sack fabric for the binding, and on the inside was just so ratty. Like I said, it was pretty much just chipboard, so I covered it with a whole big piece of the feed sack, which I thought came out really, really pretty. And I've used this in bits and pieces, but I'm really trying to use some of this up. and because it's just so gorgeous and it just doesn't need to be sitting in my fabric bin. So that's that cover. And it just depends on, you know, what kind of cover you're working with as to what you want to do. This is another one that I'm working on. And once I get all my signatures together, I get all my stuff cut, then I just I'll do this and rubber band it together until I'm ready to come to the sewing machine. I'll leave my little bits that I haven't used in here, so I can use them for tabs or pockets or whatever, or just include them with the journal. I will go through and clip things, like if I want to extend a page, I go through and do the washi. So do it in stages. I'll make little kits, then I pull everything together, fold all my pages up, decide where I want things to go, cut things down, put the signatures in order, get several ready to come to the sewing machine, and then I just come do all the sewing. Then I'll go back and see if I want to add anything else before I bind them. And then I'll bind them together, and then I'll add embellishments. So sometimes I will go back and add tabs later and staple things in. But like, I know I want to make a pocket here, so I've already cut this down and I've clipped this in for the sewing machine. Now I also keep my my punch here. So I know for this one, when I go to sew, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna punch this because I wanna do me a little pocket like that. And then I've so absolutely stolen Jessica's technique of rounding these, because it is easier when you go to pull things in and out of a pocket than it does to snag on that corner. So then I'll stitch around it. Now in some cases, what I'll do on this too is I will stitch around this whole little pocket, and then I'll glue it in, okay? Or I might stitch along here and then go back in the sewing machine and stitch it, so you'll see the stitching on the other side. Just depends on what my mood is. Most likely, because I don't want the stitching to come on, this is a really beautiful piece of wallpaper. Not necessarily want the stitching on that side on that, but it's just preference, whatever you want to do. So that's kind of how I work. And I've got all of these signatures ready. And with this one, I did put pockets in it, these pocket pages, because it's large enough and there's room for you to put the 4x6 and the 3x4 pictures in it. The smaller ones, I didn't do that because there's not really, it's not large enough, and because they're much older books. I just decided I didn't want them in that one, but I did put it in this one. So that's just kind of how I roll with when I'm working on something, or when I'm working on journals. This one, I've already done the stitching in, so now I'm ready to go back and bind this one. I've already gone through and sewn the pockets, and I sewed on some other book pages, so you can see. Now I did add the little slide protector. I was able to cut that down. I did put one of those in here. And I just, just decide what I want, and then I'll leave my extras in here. So I'm probably gonna come back and make some tags for this one like I did my other embellishments. I haven't done a video on that. I need to do a video on that. For this particular book, I took some hardback. These are chipboard, but they're not super thick chipboard, but they're sturdy, pretty sturdy. And this is a custom order for someone, and I made her a little writing board with this little Eloise Wilkins page. So that one is ready to be bound in. I may go back and add some envelopes. Oh, and this cover, and like I said, this is just going to be kind of a down and dirty, just show you a little bit of idea about how my process. So this particular cover was a cloth cover, okay? So I took some chipboard and I cut the cover in half, and then I cut the chipboard to size, and I glued this onto the chipboard, and then I glued the back onto a piece of chipboard. Then I created a spine. Actually, no, I didn't. You know, my videos are all spaz videos, so y'all are used to me now. Anyway, I did the chipboard and actually created the whole cover first, okay? I made my spine. I taped it together. I used masking tape for mine because it works, and I don't have a problem with it when I try to glue or stitch something over it. So I created the whole chipboard base. Then I glued this and this cover on. Then I glued the fabric. Then I put the paper on the inside, glued the fabric on the inside, and then I ran it through my sewing machine. Okay, so that is how you can turn a cloth cover book into one like this. So that was the process on that one. So there's all different kinds of ways that you can do these, and restore something, recycle it like we all like to do. Reuse, recycle, recreate, turn it into something new. So this one I'm getting ready to stitch, getting ready to do my sewing in this one. And I did pretty much the same thing with it. I created the binding and covered this, used fabric glue and covered this, and then if you'll notice here, I did not stitch all the way around these corners. I don't know if you can see that. Let me make sure I'm in frame. I didn't stitch all the way around the corners because I needed to add these. So, because they were ratty and really tearing apart right there. So I stitched, and then I pulled this piece, put the book cover on it, and then glued this back at the corners. I didn't add them on the back because I reinforced here with the paper. Okay. Anyway, just a little quick video to kind of show you what I'm working on and tell you a little bit about my process. If anybody, I think some of y'all are interested in seeing how I do these embellishments. And if you see here, I went crazy a couple of weekends ago, and I mean, I got out my stuff and my scraps, and I just went nuts. And I made a ton of these things. So those little bits and pieces that you have left over, those little scraps, this was a little bit thinner paper, so I folded it over. I created a little cluster, and then I just stitched around it, add some little rickrack and some buttons, and voila, you got a little tuck spot, a little tag, however you want to use it. You can take your strips of paper, your scraps of paper, put a little sentiment on it, a little piece of fabric, and a little character, and you've got a little belly band or another little tuck spot you can glue into a page. Bookmark, however you want to use it. So this is a great way to use up, if you're like me and you love to fussy cut, you can cut up your little images and take your scrap papers and your buttons or whatever you have in your stash and just play and make all these little fun embellishments. Okay. So yeah, I went a little nuts here. I made a boatload of them. Then another thing I'll do, so I had all this music paper, okay, and okay, I was gonna say, did I glue that together? I had all this music paper, so I took and made a bunch of pockets. Just take your papers and sit and fold and make pockets. Just, it's something to do while you're watching TV. You can make these really easy, and then later on come back with your scraps and your cutouts and embellish it, and you've got a decorated pocket. And like I said, if you're like me and you like to cut out all these little images, then you can just make a ton of pockets. So I did those, and then the tags. So those big pieces of paper that you have left over, when you're cutting your papers down, just fold them over and do a little cluster, stitch around it. You don't even have to use your sewing machine. You can, before I got a sewing machine, I used to just use a pen, you know, and do the faux stitching. You can do the little X's and lines and stuff and make that look without having the sewing machine. So I made a ton of these too. I've already used some of them. And then it just looks really cute in a book. You know, clip it in. And probably just leave it on top of a page. You probably don't even have to clip it in. Yep. So that's what all those are. Anyway, just a lot of fun, and really doesn't, you know, it really doesn't take a ton of time to make these. It's pretty simple once you get all your stuff out in front of you, all your scraps and your little images. It's fairly easy to do. Now, see, I didn't stitch on this one yet. I've just kind of left this like that. I'd probably go back and maybe put a little piece of fabric or and a little button down here and stitch around it. So. And then the little ones, all I did on the little ones is, again, I had these strips. When I cut down my cardstock, I had all these strips of this just craft cardstock, okay? And I just cut them into pieces around the corner and made like a little tag shape, and then created a little cluster on top of it and stitched around it. So I have now another bag full of all these little things. And I can take these, so I'll take these with, here's a tag in here too. So here's a tag I started as a hidden paper clip and I hadn't finished the back of it. But I'll take this right here, and to do the hidden paper clips, you just fold over the paper, put the paper clip on top, and then I can just take this now and glue it, okay? Glue this part to this, and then put something on the other side and glue it, okay? And they just happen to be the same. I would probably do something different. And then when you glue that together, it's the paper that serves as the paper clip, okay? Once you glue it, you can open it up. It'll be the paper in there that serves as the paper clip, and then you just slide it on the side of your page. So just really easy to do and fun. Let's see if I have something else in here to show you. And then you can just use bigger pieces of scraps to create the same kind of cluster on a piece of paper. And this can serve as a tag or a pocket. You can put it on a page and glue it in, and you've got a pocket. So all this fun stuff, fun stuff to do with your scraps when you're done with a project. But I really didn't come on here to show you that today, but I thought while I was showing you these, I would kind of show you that. And then the little heart tabs that I recently made, all you do is take 2 heart punches and glue them together, and then let them dry, and then run them through your sewing machine. Staple them on the side of the page, add a button. You could put a eyelet in here and add a charm to it. You know, possibilities again are endless. But anyway, I just felt the urge to come on here and ramble and show you guys what I was working on and give you a little glimpse at my process. And I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. And I love you guys, and I'll be back soon. Bye.